Hey everyone, my name is Dr. Dolores Tarver. I'm a licensed psychologist here in Georgia, and it is time for the Tea Time with Dr. Tarver is a wellness-based podcast. It is not intended to be a substitute for a relationship with a licensed mental health provider. Thank you for joining the live. We're in our second week of this sacrifice series. I told you all I was very excited about my guest this week. Last week we welcomed Dr. Antoine Shine. And he just broke it on down for us as he was talking about leaning into Lent, spirituality, and sacrifice, and let us know that Lent is not biblical. Y'all still tripping. I'm still tripping on that. We're going to move on though. Pastor Shine really did a great job of sharing some information with us about sacrifice and being able to be focused and taking this time to be able to connect with God, and that we are going to have some suffering while we're on this road to trying to make sure that we're getting rid of things that are obstacles in this journey to wellness. So it's I thought it fitting for us to be able to talk about, well, how do I do that? How can I be mindful and intentional in this journey? How can I make sure that I'm actually being focused and not being distracted? What's going to happen when those cravings kick in and those withdrawals kick in? And how can I take care of myself and be kind to myself in this journey? So, in this second week of the series, we're going to be talking about mindful meditation, living with intention in sacrificial moments with one of my return guests, the Ebony Young LPC of the crew. She's one of my favorite people in the world because she is just all the joy. And I love that for me, that she gets to be in my life. Ebony is a graduate of Troy University. She want me to tell
Mhm.
y'all, go Trojans. With a
Yeah.
master's degree in counseling psychology, she is a nationally certified counselor and a licensed professional counselor in the state of Georgia. She utilizes a variety of approaches and treatment interventions with an emphasis on person-centered therapy. She finds that therapy is most effective when it is customized to meet the unique needs of each client. She promotes a holistic treatment options, such as exploring homeopathic alternatives, psychoeducation, and considering the mind, body, spirit connection as a resource for healing. She believes that self-awareness, optimism, curiosity, and mindfulness are key to lasting change. Ebony's favorite quote is, "No one else is you, and that's your power." She
Yes.
enjoys music, travel, yoga, living simply, and a good piece of wedding cake. Ebony
Yes.
is the peacock proud mother of her 14-year-old son, Micah. Welcome back to Tea Time with Dr. Tava, Ebony.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all so much for having me back. I am so grateful that you would not count it robbery to have me on the show one more again. Amen.
One more again in the name of Jesus, we say. So I think one of the reasons why Ebony is one of my favorite guests is because she got all the good one-liners. I'm to a T. But she also has this really amazing gift of being able to just break things down, and she said, into simplistic things that allow us to make
Mhm.
life a little easier. Because in this journey to wellness, it can be really hard. And we can beat ourselves up and we get in these cycles and these patterns, and then we feel bad about it. And now we self-sabotaging because now I feel like I done let folks down and I'm a failure and all of the things. So we're going to get into that. As always, you all please drop your questions, your comments in the chat. I'll do my best to navigate them as well as launching some of these questions. And because I know that I can get off track, I got my script ready for my questions. But you do know that this thing could go left at any point. We'll see where the spirit leads us. All right,
Exactly.
so here we are in this season where people are probably thinking about next Wednesday
Yeah.
starting possibly this process of fasting in some capacity, whether it's for Lent or just for their own wellness. So,
Mhm.
how can mindfulness help a person stay focused as they're on their journey during that season of Lent or periods of sacrifice? Talk to the people.
Yes. So I think first of all, I want to just define what mindfulness is. I think that when people hear the term mindfulness, they immediately think of meditation, sitting Indian, cross-legged, trying to sit with a moment of meditation, maybe with the clasped middle fingers, getting ready to sit and start off in that way. But mindfulness, in and of itself, in a simplified way, is the practice of presence, right? It's the practice of presence. And so there are seven, possibly nine pillars of mindfulness. And the term itself was coined in the Western world by Mr. John Kabat-Zinn. Shout out to him, one of the leading theorists of our time on this practice. And with regard to kind of being really intentional, present, purposeful, mindfulness might be of service to someone who wants to fast in a couple of different ways. One would be that they would determine their why, like what is the reason for the fast? What is the goal? What do they want to get from their fasting experience? Number two, it might help them to line out some simple, intentional, holistic steps to help support their fast. And number three, it'll give them a moment to practice some stillness, which is a major part of fasting. When you're doing a fast, we know that that fast is connected to a greater being, and it requires a measure of attunement, spiritual attunement, if you will, as well as attunement to the body to be able to practice that effort.
I
Mhm.
like this because one, so I see that's what y'all gonna be doing on this series is debunking myths. I'm here for it because I love for the people to have good education and
Yeah.
understanding. So one, I'm hearing that one can practice mindfulness and it does not go against Christianity, spirituality, but it is considered something that can work together collaboratively, if you will, with whatever the sacrifice you're making, if that's a fast, if that's Lent, whatever that might be, so that you can be intentional and you're following these tenets, these pillars, if you will, of
Yeah.
mindfulness to help you be able to get your why, I heard,
Mhm,
which
mhm.
I think is one of the challenges that people have is why
Yes,
am I doing this in the
that's right.
first place?
That's right. That's right. I think that's true. I
Mm-hmm,
think that's
mm-hmm,
true. I think, yes, you mentioned about the spiritual aspect. I don't think it has to be a spiritual practice. It just has to be a like a purposeful and intentional practice, right? If you
mm-hmm,
don't believe in quote unquote God, you can believe in anything that's greater than yourself. You can believe in nature. You can believe in the wind. You can believe in anything and practice the technique of mindfulness and engage in that practice with great benefit to your mind, body, and any spiritual self that you connect to.
I
Mhm.
like that. I like that all. So we're talking about the purpose and the why. So as I think
Yes.
about why I would struggle with
Yeah.
any kind of sacrificial period, it
Mhm.
is often because the why fluctuates. And
Okay.
you talked about that it's very important for you to be clear about what you're doing and why you're doing it.
Yes.
So as we're talking about how to create that, how to understand that, how to assess that, if you will, for somebody that maybe has not had a process of sacrifice,
Mhm.
what would that process look like for them? How would one go about
Yeah.
starting that?
Yeah, I think with regard to identifying a why, I think it's really important that there is no right or wrong way to practice mindfulness. There's no right or wrong way to engage in fasting in the way of like the rules, routines, regimens, regulations that people tend to put on certain practices. I think it's important that we remain really open to this practice because it has a kind of a flow to it, right? It's not very static. It's a little bit fluid, right? And I think when you're determining a why, you want to make sure that you're not doing it for any necessarily unhealthy reasons in the moment, not having expectations that may be unrealistic, um, setting a goal that aligns with your values, your belief system, realizing that mindfulness is a process and it's progressive and it's a practice. It's not a overhaul of sorts. To become more mindful, you have to practice doing that. And I think if we're speaking specifically in regard to fasting, I think mindfulness might be helpful in kind of quieting the noise around us when we start to fast. There's so much doctrine and so many different trending topics that go along with fasting, intermittent fasting, and all the different windows that you fast in, and giving up meat or then not giving up meat. Then you're going to fast from TV, you're going to fast from meat. I mean, there's so many ways a fast can be done. And so I would think that mindfulness in and of itself, the practice of that stillness, the practice of that intention, the practice of that presence would allow one to really focus into, well, I want to fast, but what do I hope to get from this fast? What is my goal? What would I like the end of the fast to look like? And in the process, what am I willing to offer up as a consistent practice to be able to engage in this fasting or mindfulness practice?
I like that because I think that sometimes because you're leading into this next question of mine, 'cause the distraction piece. There is a lot of different everything, and I think a lot of
Mhm.
times I find that people can have so much information that it causes
Mhm.
confusion.
That's right.
And
That's
so now not only have I gotten off track of whatever, and Pastor Sean said last week, the fasting doesn't have to just be from food, and you just alluded to that as well.
that's
The
right.
fasting might be from social media, the fasting might be
Right.
from people, the
Mhm.
fasting might be from me making negative statements about myself. The fasting
That's
may
right.
be from me gossiping. Right.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
as we think about all of the different ways people may get information where they're trying to kind of narrow in once they start this process on staying intentional, staying purposeful. How do you
Yeah.
eliminate the distractions? Because they're coming, right? Because we're
Yeah.
going to be
Yeah.
struggling. We're letting go of something that has served a purpose for us, whatever this
Mhm.
thing is that we felt like may be interfering now with us being able to get to this next step. And we want to kind of make some changes around it. How do we quiet that noise? What are those strategies for being able to deal with the distractions and all of this other information that might be coming in?
Yes. So I think one of the greatest tools that we use for stillness is to actually physically stop what you're doing, physically stop your processes. So one of the strategies that we use for mindfulness or practice of a self check is the STOP, the stop method, right? So we're going to physically stop. Don't text, don't talk, put the phone down, put the TV on pause. We're going to physically stop. Number two, we're going to take a deep breath, right? There's no rush to anywhere. There's no need to hurry to anything, right? We're going to take a deep breath. We're going to observe, okay, in this moment where there's so much distraction, what am I experiencing, right? What are my thoughts? What are my feelings? Is there any tension in my physical body, right? Is my mind racing? Are there too many thoughts? Is there actual like auditory noise around me? So we're going to observe what's going on within us and around us, right? So physically stop, take a deep breath, observe, O, and then P. We're going to proceed with intention and attention, right? Intention, right? Making sure that we accomplish what we want to. Attention, making sure that there are details included in our process that really aligns with what we're trying to do with that intention, right? So I think the first step is to just simply be still, to stop what you're doing and see. Okay, so I think we're from a culture of multitaskers,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
We want to be doing all the things at one time. We're on the phone while the TV is on, while the dryer is going. If the stove may be on, we're multitasking, right? So one of
Mhm.
the greatest facets associated with mindfulness is the single task, right? So when we
Mhm.
want a single task, we have to actually like put ourselves in a space where it's conducive, right? So you may
Mhm.
not be able to do this while at work, or do this while watching TV, or do this while
Mhm.
scrolling social media, or do this while you tell your kids to get ready for bed. You may have to carve out some time and dedicate some time to the stillness required to kind of get started on the path of identifying a mindfulness practice that best suits you.
It's
Mhm.
the intention and attention for
Yes,
me.
yes, yes, yes.
Right? Like, because if I think about what makes sacrifice difficult, is that
Mm,
I have good intentions, but I'm not paying
yes.
attention.
Exactly,
Mhm.
exactly. I think that is the practice of presence, right? A lot of
Mhm.
times we talk about like the experiences that we're having and the way they impact us, right? So when I talk about mindfulness and I give a contrast, right? So we say a lot of time our anxious thoughts, they live really in the future, right?
Mhm.
They're all about the what if. The
Mhm.
what if, the what if, the uncertainty, the unknowing. We say a lot of our thoughts that kind of hold us back. Some of those traumas, some of those triggers, some more oppressive or depressive thoughts, those hang out in the past. We want to avoid the thing that has hurt us previously, right? And so then we
Mhm.
come back and we talk about mindfulness in itself. One of my favorite things about mindfulness is it's happening right here, right now. So if there is something happening right, if there's nothing happening right here, right now, then there is no threat. There is no worry. There is no need to focus on anything except for this present moment. If something changes, then we trust ourselves to like be able to manage the change of the atmosphere, right? The change in the mood, the change in the motion. And so I think a lot of times when people are thinking of being mindful, they're trying to be mindful versus just being in the present.
Mm.
Yeah. You're going
Mm.
to be in the present. You're going to feel your feet on the ground. You're going to know that you're in a safe space. No one is potentially at risk right now. As we sit together, you and I, in our respective spaces, we can be present. There is no thing that is vying for our attention. Hopefully, nothing going on in the background, nothing that we hear, nothing in our bodies that distraction, our discomfort. And so just being able to be in that moment where you are, where right now is really all that matters. The past,
Mm.
there's nothing you can do. The future, there's nothing you can do yet. Right now is what matters.
And that,
Mhm.
when you talked about the anxious thinking, I think that's what makes it
Yes.
so difficult is that
Mhm.
a lot of us, like the thoughts are constant. They're going,
Yes.
they're racing. And so as I'm trying to be present in this moment, my mind is thinking about all the what ifs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, last time I tried this, I failed. I didn't do a good job. I got it to
Mm,
week two of this journey and then it fell apart
mhm,
and I wasn't able to get it
mhm.
back together. I'm
Yeah.
not a person that completes things.
Mhm.
What if I don't have the support for this? If I tell
Yeah.
people like I'm trying to make these sacrifices, I want to make these changes, and they're like, you're not gonna actually be able to succeed with that. So like you might as well
Mm,
just quit. So I think that that stillness piece, that stop, and I love that stop, and I envision this red stop sign, like stop.
right.
Um,
Right. Exactly.
like this running, when I give assessments, we have a
Mhm.
subtest called running digits, where you just
That's right.
run a bunch of numbers and you tell people they got to remember the last four, but they don't know which ones they have to remember. You just giving them a bunch of numbers. So there's all of this information coming at one time to see if they'll be able to
Mhm.
stop and be still and
Ye-
focus. It is
Yes.
incredibly difficult to do. So when you're talking about this in this journey, the emotion piece, because they're going to come up, all of the
Yeah.
things that I say, hey, I have the intention of being able to be
Yeah.
still and not allow all of these emotions to kind of flood over me as I'm in this period of sacrifice. But I
Mhm.
know that if I'm paying attention, they're there. So
That's
how do I kind of manage that emotional? I don't want to call it baggage because it's not baggage, but
right.
all of the emotions that arise as I'm essentially putting myself in this place of sacrifice. I'm depriving myself of something. So how do
Yeah.
I navigate
Yeah.
these emotions in this mindfulness space?
Okay. So I think this would be a good time to kind of give a little bit of psychoeducation on the
Please.
seven pillars, right, of
Hmm.
mindfulness.
Hmm.
The ones that I just mentioned, and I'm going to click somewhere, but if you can't see me, tell me come back, okay?
Okay, you good.
Can you see me?
I can see you.
Very good. Okay. So we're going to talk about the seven key attitudes of mindfulness. Okay. So there are seven principles of mindfulness that kind of speak to the practice itself. They're foundational principles. And I'll give them to you, then I'll give you a little definition, right?
Okay,
So,
great.
seven principles. They're non judging, right? Patience, a beginner's mind, okay? Trust, non striving, acceptance, and let it go. Letting go.
Mm.
Okay. So non judging, patience, a beginner's mind, trust, non striving, acceptance, and letting go. So when we talk about these principles, these are the foundations of the things. Pretty much, if we don't do either of these things, we run the risk of not being present and mindful. Okay, so number
Okay.
one, non-judging, right? It's being impartial. I'm an impartial witness to your own experience. You become aware of the constant stream of judging and reacting to inner and outer experiences, right? So when we have experiences, we as humans, we like labels. We enjoy them. It helps us to categorize and make associations. And it's how we
Mhm.
learn as little humans what is happening in the world around us, right? This particular principle calls us not to have any judgment. Notice I didn't say biased because we all have
Mm.
some things that we already think are right or wrong. This
Mhm.
says that when I do have an experience, I don't need to label it as good or bad. I can
Mm.
just label it as an experience that I'm having, and it's an experience that is just occurring right now. It's not good or bad, right? The quote by Shakespeare says, "Nothing is good or bad, but how we call it says so." Right? When we
Mm.
call it good or bad, then we give it a value. Otherwise, it doesn't have a value. Thing number two is patience, right? Patience is a form of wisdom in this practice. Patience demonstrates that what we accept the fact sometimes that they unfold on their own time. We allow for
Mm.
this.
Mm.
We allow for this. No matter how much we want things to be, some things just take time, right? It's like baking the cake. No matter what else is going on, there's some time that it takes to mix the ingredients, to add the eggs, to make all the ingredients combined. And then we have an opportunity to have the baking time, right? And no matter how
Mm.
much we love cake, it takes the time that it takes to cook the cake, right? Okay. Number three, trust. It says develop a basic trust with yourself and your feelings. Know it's okay to make mistakes, right? So
Mm.
a lot of times we don't have trust in others because we're not sure that we trust ourselves,
Mm.
right? To take care of ourselves when we have experiences that maybe cause us to feel a bit impatient or cause us to want to judge certain things. Okay.
Mhm.
Next one was non striving. When I say this one, a lot of people think I mean not trying. I don't mean not trying. I mean not striving. The difference between a try and a strive is trying says I've put forth all my resources, I've done my part, and I'm at peace with that. Striving is going above and beyond in those resources and then trying to make something happen when maybe it's not time for us to make something happen. We've exhausted
Mm.
our will, our influence, our affluence, right? And things are happening. Next is acceptance. Acceptance says that seeing things as they are, not versus how we think they should be,
Mm.
right? We allow things to be as they are. It sets the stage for acting appropriate in life, no matter what's happening. You can always practice a measure of acceptance to recognize that some things are just out of your sphere of control, right? Inner things in the circle, the things that you can't control, your thoughts, your behaviors, your choices, sometimes not your feelings, but most times your feelings, or at least your reaction to the feeling, right? Inside the circle. Outside the circle is all the other stuff that's floated around. Okay. For this, I use the bubble. If you stay in your own acceptance, you're good because you can manage what's going on with you. But if you try to go and force acceptance on anyone else, you burst your bubble and then all your mess goes everywhere. Okay.
Mm.
And
That's
then
good.
lastly, letting go, right? Letting go. And a lot of people struggle with this one because we're really attached to the stories we've told ourselves
Mm.
and the narratives we've given ourselves about how things should be, whether that's past or present. And when we hold on to that, it really takes us out of the presence of being in a mindful state in an intentional, clear space. So those are the seven principles of
Mm.
mindfulness.
I love all of that,
Thank
right?
you.
Because it leaves space for us to fall and struggle and have a hard time and still love on ourselves
That's
and
right.
not label it as I'm lazy. I don't follow through. I'm
Right.
unworthy.
Right.
I don't have any self-control.
Right.
I am like this. I can't change. Right? It allows us to be in the space of I'm going to exist in this moment of time, in whatever
Right.
this time is. And I
Right.
like how you said non-striving doesn't mean I'm not trying, because trying and
Right.
striving are different
Are
things.
two different things. Are two different things. That's right.
So I'm showing up and I'm trying in all the ways that I know how.
That's
And
right.
in those moments where I falter in this journey, that doesn't mean that I have to label it in any negative way, but it sounds like more I need to kind of understand and assess.
Yes, and I think a lot of times we have been conditioned to identify what is good or bad. And
Mm,
when we're striving for certain things, we think that if it's not going the way we think it should, then it's not good. And we need to
mm,
keep working at it. We need to keep molding and
mm,
influencing and trying to make it fit into our idea, right?
mm,
Of what we think it should be. And a lot of times we really struggle with that because there are some things that just take the effort of others to complete. They're not going to get done until the other person does their part, right?
mm,
And so
mm,
until that happens, then we have to really look at what it looks like to be accepting things, even though we feel as though they're incomplete or they didn't turn out how we thought they would or should. Yeah.
Ooh, you hit on a
Yeah.
lot of stuff in this.
Mhm.
One, the patience piece, because
Yes.
like you gave this great example of baking a cake. Like I don't care how much you want that king cake. That's what's been on my mind. That's in my
Yes,
spirit.
it
Y'all don't worry about
is.
that. Um,
Yes, it
no,
is.
no, like I can't. If I want this king cake, I have to wait for the process of it to be cooked,
That's
it to
right.
be
That's
baked,
right.
the
That's
ingredients
right.
to be stirred, it to be iced, and all of the good things in order for me to be able to eat it. Because otherwise, then I'm getting this uncooked dough that's gonna make me
Come on.
sick.
Yes, yes. I think patience in and of itself, I think people struggle a lot with that because
Hmm.
we have really rigid ideas and timelines for
Hmm.
ourselves
Hmm.
and our experiences. And when those timelines do not produce in a way that aligns with our values, our beliefs about a situation, we get impatient or we get really another untethered, right?
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
There's an
Hmm.
unearthing or ungrounding that happens when we're not where we're supposed to be doing what we're
Hmm.
supposed to be
Hmm.
doing with the people we're supposed to be with. It really is difficult for us, and I like how it says that patience is a form of wisdom.
Hmm.
It's a form
Hmm.
of wisdom.
Hmm.
Knowing that we don't tell plants when to grow or flowers when to bloom or trees when to get their leaves back, that
Hmm.
there are things that just happen when they happen. They take the
Yes.
time that they take, and they're only going to do it in the season anyway.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
patience would be the
Yes.
ability to wait for
Mm.
that.
And I'm not
Mhm,
inadequate or
mhm,
unworthy or a
mhm,
failure as this
mhm.
process is taking place. But what I'm
No.
doing is I'm being intentional about making space.
Yes, and choosing what you do while you wait is also a form of wisdom. You could wait
Mm.
begrudgingly, right?
Ooh.
You could wait with resentment and
Mm.
disdain
Mm-hmm.
for the belief that you have missed something in your life and opportunity has passed you by, or the people have forgotten about you, or God
Mm.
has forgotten about you,
Mm.
or or you could take the time that is before you now and use it in really intentional ways that help push you towards where you want to be. I love recently I heard the analogy of the yardstick versus the compass. Have you heard
Mm.
this
I
before?
haven't heard this
Okay.
before.
So we talk about measuring progress, success, value, things of this nature. And we often hear of using the yardstick. It's a
Mm-hmm.
specific distance, it's to and from. Either you meet the mark or you do not.
Mm-hmm.
When there is a measurement to be made, you pull out your yardstick, you point it, you line it up, and you either met it or you didn't. And if you didn't meet it, then you're insufficient. Yes,
Mm.
you're
Mm.
defective, right?
Mm. Mm.
Whether on the other hand, there is the compass. And we
Mm.
all know what the compass is. It shows us the way that we should go. It shows us whether or not we are headed in the right direction. It shows us
Yes.
if we're in the range of our marker, if we need to redirect and correct course. It's not quite as rigid as the
Mm.
yardstick, but it
Mm.
still guides us gently in the way
Okay.
that we should
Okay.
go. So mindfulness is a lot like that, in that in the moments where we feel as though we're not quite meeting the mark, and if we measure ourselves against the yardstick, we may not be, we can easily pull out that compass and say,
Mm.
okay, no, I didn't quite do all the things, but I've made some choices that move me closer to the direction I want to go into, right?
That'll preach.
Be that way. Yeah, yeah, that was a good analogy I've heard
I
recently, and I
love
thought it was
that.
powerful.
And
Mhm.
I feel like that is so apropos to us in these journeys, right? So
Yeah,
people are, you hit on a lot of things because oftentimes as people are reflecting on this season of sacrifice, that's what
yeah.
they're thinking, like, God forgot about me
Mm,
because I sacrificed last year and you didn't bring me a spouse. I
yeah,
sacrificed
yeah.
last year and you didn't bring me a house. I
Mhm.
sacrificed last year and you didn't heal this loved one. I sacrificed
Yes.
last
Mhm,
year and I didn't get that promotion. I
mhm, mhm.
sacrificed last year and I'm still in the same financial debt that I was in the year before. So you've forgotten
Yeah.
about me. I'm not worthy. This
Mhm,
isn't going to happen for me. What is the
mhm,
point of me
mhm,
doing this?
mhm,
Clearly, I am meant to just live in existence in this life where people are just going to be able to have whatever, and I'm going to be over here in this miserable, resentful, saddened,
mhm,
depressed,
mhm,
despondent
mhm,
space. And you said in this
mhm.
waiting, one, and you said this earlier, does not mean what you think is going to come out of it is going to come out of it.
That's right. That's right. That's being able to accept whatever it is.
Come
And then
on,
if we go back up
acceptance.
the list, up the list, that
Come on.
judgment is there. That judgment is
Yes.
there. So we're non-judging, but are we? Because
Are we?
when we come, are we? Because a lot of times when we think it is going well, we can wait well. We can accept
Mm.
that. But the moment the course changes in any way that's uncomfortable
Mm-hmm.
or unexpected, then our judgment creeps in, our
Mm-hmm.
unacceptance or
Mm-hmm.
rejection creeps
Mm-hmm.
in, our striving. We get really
Mm-hmm.
anxious and we tend to, when we correct course, we over correct, which we know can cause an
Mm.
accident,
Mm-hmm.
pulls us
Mm-hmm.
straight off course,
Come
right?
on.
So there are so many principles there that I think we miss. And I think the one that I think even in that acceptance is the letting go piece, because a lot of
Mm.
times we do ourselves more harm to hold on to something or someone that's pulling away from us,
My God,
right?
today.
Our hands get raw, right?
Mm-hmm.
We
Mm-hmm.
exert our strength. We
Mm-hmm.
find that we are being pulled to and fro,
Mm-hmm.
dragged along,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
not at all,
Mm-hmm.
and damaging ourselves in the process when all we had
Yes.
to do was let it go. We could let it go, and it wouldn't have
Mm.
pulled us that far out, of course. Mhm,
And Pastor Sean said last week that in this process of sacrifice, there is
mhm.
going to be some letting go.
There's
That
gotta
that
be
you cannot both move forward and be
mhm.
pulled backwards.
Absolutely.
And I think for a
Absolutely.
lot of us, that's that struggle for us, particularly in seasons of sacrifice, is that we
Mhm,
do have to let go of some things, let go of some
mhm,
expectations we
yeah,
had, let
mhm.
go of who we might have thought we were,
Mm,
something that made us in our
yeah.
identity, right?
Mhm,
That who am I?
mhm.
Am I not this? If I don't have this thing, if I don't have this title or this person or this these
Wow.
resources or whatever,
Wow.
and that also letting go in itself to me is a mindful practice. It's
Yes.
intentional.
Mhm.
Um, and I do think that we struggle with the letting go, which is why these periods of sacrifice for us when we're fasting are incredibly difficult, is because we
Yes.
have to say goodbye to some things. And so
Mhm.
where we at? Okay. As I'm mindful of the time, what hope and encouragement can you give to the people in this season for this journey of letting go?
I think it's important to consider that we're not all the things that we are,
Mm.
all the things that we've been, or all the things that we will be all at the same time.
Mm. Run it back. Run it back
Right?
for me. Run it
So
back.
we're not all the things that we are, all the things that we've been, or all the things that we will be all at the same time. Right? And so when someone feels as though they're losing something, someone that has really been a part of who they are, they're not considering that they're no longer that person, that who you were and what felt right before maybe doesn't fit in this current present moment where we're trying to become. Right.
Mm.
And so I think the one thing I might offer someone who might be struggling with letting go of people, practices, ideas that they've held before is that you didn't always believe that thing that you believe now,
Mm.
right? You didn't always have that personhood or that attribute of yourself that you've developed over time. And it's okay to say thank you for the time that you served me, right? And move on into the next phase of who you'll become, right? You may not be who you think you are anyway. This could be why you're striving and struggling so much. You know that you're not the person who binge eats anymore, and you're trying to force it because you've always done that. So you can't let that go. You know you're not a person who tolerates disrespect anymore. So when someone disrespects you, it hits you in a different place, right? So maybe that's who you were, but that's not who you are, right? And so we have to allow ourselves to be different people at the different times in our lives where it serves us. Mhm.
If I could throw my hand at you right now, I would throw it on you right now.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
because maybe I'm not who I thought I was anyway.
Nope. We're evolving. That's a part of our process, right? As humans, as
Woo.
people, we're ever changing beings. I'm not who I was last year, last month,
Mm,
possibly 2 weeks
mm.
ago. And that's okay. All of those versions of myself at the moment, at the time, served me well.
And for that, I say thank you.
And for that, I say thank you. And I let her go.
And I let her go. I
And I let
appreciate you. I
yeah.
appreciate you for what you've given to me, how you've allowed
Yeah.
me to be able to manage and navigate. You no longer fit. And
I'm
so
not
it's
that
time for me
her
to go.
anymore.
I
Yeah.
am not this person anymore.
Yeah. It's
So
time.
why do I keep labeling myself as that
Yeah.
person when I'm no longer, you, you know
Yeah.
what,
Because
get
it's
off my Zoom.
comfortable. It feels comfortable to remember who you were. And
Yes.
when we need to be different and when we need to
Mm,
change, it means we have to grieve.
mm,
Gotta grieve.
mm,
Yeah, we've got to
mm,
grieve. Letting go is not easy. I never said that. I
mm.
never said that.
Let us
Um,
be clear.
but it's essential, right?
Mm,
And
mm.
we get to grieve the things that we relinquish, but we don't have to uh, belabor that grief. We
We don't have
can
to
allow,
tarry.
you ain't got to tarry with it.
You
You
ain't got
can
to
you can
tarry in
say
that
thank you
grief.
and
Hmm.
goodbye.
Hmm.
Yeah, you don't have to
Hmm.
tarry with
Hmm.
it. And who's to say that the thing that's gone was a loss at all? Maybe it was just par for the course. Yeah,
You know
like
what?
scaffolding. Scaffolding. Yeah,
You, you
yeah. Okay, sorry. Okay, you said time. I'm trying to. I go off on a little preacher moment. I ain't gonna do it.
listen, because why you just tell the people maybe it wasn't a loss at all? Oh,
Yeah, maybe it wasn't a loss. And think about it. And see, I gotta say that. I gotta say the metaphor now because I brought it
cause
up.
go ahead, cause now we in there. Now we in there.
When we have scaffolding, what is it for? It's only for use to help with the building process. Okay. If you look at the building and they putting it up, they going through that scaffolding, they weaving their way through, they're trying to get through and put certain parts and they need it for leverage over here, then they stand over there. But when the building is built, the scaffolding is fully removed. And they don't give you no warning to tell you when they're taking the scaffolding. When the builder says it's done, then they go back and they take all the scaffolding. You don't need it anymore for the
Because the
building to stay
building
in.
is sturdy.
Because the building is built
It
on the
is
foundation that
built
it's supposed
on
to be.
foundation that is sturdy. Shoes have been thrown, collection plates have been passed. We, my God, today. I know y'all feel it. I feel it. And I hate that I got to wrap it up,
Yeah.
but I'm not gonna tarry. I just want you to know that the people um are in this comment section.
All
You
right.
got Amaryllis Diddley West, you got Bernadette Thompson, the good
No.
elder LaVisha Williams is in here. And they just want you to know, oh, Sister Dolman's in the house. Um, and they want you to know, I'm paraphrasing for them, that they're very proud of you.
Oh,
And
thank
that you stay dropping a gem of wisdom.
you. Thank you. You're so
Stay,
kind.
listen, listen.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be a good steward because we could be here for 30 more minutes.
Yeah.
Are there any last suggestion, tips, words of encouragement that you would like to share with the people as they enter into this sacrificial journey that they may begin next week
Mhm.
or at any point?
Yeah. I think it's really important to remember that it's a practice and a process, and that patience is like a part of it, right? And so you don't need to handle yourself so critically or roughly to get yourself to grow. If you just practice, you'll grow.
You don't have
You'll
to
grow.
handle yourself so critically,
Mm-mm.
so roughly in
So
order for you
roughly.
to grow.
If you practice,
Mm,
you will get better. If you practice, you will get better. And that's all fasting is. It's a practice of letting go.
mm,
It's a
mm,
practice of sacrifice. It's the
mhm.
practice of becoming and remembering. Okay, that's a negative. Okay, I'm gonna talk about it later.
Right,
Remembering who we are, because sometimes we forget when there's so many distractions. We forget who we
yes,
really are. So
yes.
if you practice, and if you continue to practice the process, you will grow. You will grow.
Because you know that's one of my favorite things to say. Whatever you practice becomes your process.
That's it. That's it. And with the
All right.
process, there will be progress.
Come
With the
on with
process,
because
there
you
will
know
be
I like a good alliteration.
yes, because we got a lot of peas. We got a lot of
We
peas. We
got
got
we got we got a lot of peas out
yes,
here.
yes. Thank you, thank
And
you.
and again, we're very proud. Would you like to share any social media pages, upcoming events for the people?
Oh, sure. So you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Ebony Yo. You can also find my budding professional page at Simply Be Honey. Also on Instagram, not yet on Facebook, but it's coming. You can DM me, you can message me, and I will respond to your messages. And I just want to encourage you all to be well, just to be well, just
Yes,
be well.
yes.
Mhm, mhm.
All right, all right, all right. So everyone put your virtual hands together for the ever fabulous Ebony Young, licensed professional counselor.
Thank
Y'all see
you.
why she's one of my favorite guests, and she'll be back again. Don't worry.
Thank you.
Because I like a good step and repeat. Um, so next week we're going to be live with my guest, Elder Carlene Ingram, as we discuss sacrifice versus struggle, striking
Mm,
balance in our romantic relationships. Be sure to follow, like, and share Tea Time with Dr. Tarver on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and your favorite podcast platforms. Thank you all so much for being here with us. We'll see you next week. Good night and be well, everybody.